Ladder Championship Saturday is here. It's the first one for Classic Candlepins Season 2.0. And for our entire crew, as always, from downtown Amesbury and the legendary Frank Face. It's good to have me here.
It is good to have you here. And
Thank
I
you.
hope it's good to have me here, but I'm not so sure.
Yeah, I would never underestimate you. You're a tremendous slouch. I'm Kyle Bruce, and we're going to see our first look at Fuller-Simoneau, who is our top seed for the first ladder of this season. He threw 668. Can you enlighten some of our viewers as to what we're going to be in store for? Because he really kind of came out of nowhere.
Fuller-Simoneau, long history of bowling within his family, is involved in the house in Nashua, but kind of a sleeper. I mean, you don't hear much about him. He's been bowling on the Pro Series circuit for a little while, has made some noise, and certainly he did that at the rolloff.
Oh, sure,
so
definitely.
I think we have high expectation for this particular match.
Right. Very similar situation to what we saw last year with Brian Fournier. Fuller throws, I think, 642 at that point, the number one seed, and then Fournier came into the 644. He became top seed. Same kind of situation with this, where the second to last roll-off, he supersedes Fuller Jr.'s 658 as a 668, and here we are for the ladder championship.
And both of those guys, Kyle, are my teammates. So maybe it has something to do with me. I don't know.
I tell you, it's that influence that you have. You make people better.
Oh, well,
it's your tremendous influence. And
it's the least I could do.
Yes, your spirit of mind. Yes. So
great match coming up.
Absolutely. It's the Ladder Championship Saturday. Fuller-Simoneau against Brian Fuller Jr. on Classic Candlepins. And we'll talk to you in the post-match show. Enjoy it.
It's going to be very tough. There's a great field of competition, but I'm going to try and do what I did last time, just go out and bowl. That's all it comes down to. If I do that, then hopefully the results will show.
I feel like I have a little bit of an advantage. I mean, I've been bowling here before I could even walk, so.
I love bowling under the lights. I mean, a lot of guys get a little bit of pressure going in under the lights. I feel the opposite. I feel at home there, and that's my kind of thing. So I love bowling on TV, no matter what the situation might be, no matter who I'm bowling against.
You could have been in fifth, or you could have been in dead last, and you finally finished like near the top, or you're in the top five. It's just such an amazing feeling to know that you're in it, and you're going to be on the show.
Lately, I've actually been starting to improve my game, been trying to ask a lot of questions, getting a lot of advice, and I've noticed my average increasing. So while I might not be at the highest level with all those great bowlers out there, I definitely feel like I am improving, so I can be competitive against them.
Welcome everyone to downtown Amesbury. My name is Frank DeLuca, aka Frank Face, and I'm here with Mark Ricci. This is our final match of the first ladder of season 2.0 of Classic Candlepins. And Mark, we have our number one seed, Fuller-Simoneau of Merrimack, New Hampshire, who you could probably speak about his roll-off scores. Quite impressive.
Yes, it was. The night he was here, he threw 668 in the roll-off. I've never seen him bowl as well as he did. He was on everything, didn't miss anything. And he actually bested Fuller's 658 in the roll-off, and it annoyed Fuller so much that he came back and tried to bowl again to beat him. So he gets the grudge match today. I know they're both good friends, and it's going to be a heck of a match, and I'm really looking forward. This is Jay's first time on the one of the scratch shows that we do without the handicap, so it should be a new experience for him, and it should be really a great match. I'm looking forward to it big time.
And speaking of Brian Fuller, he edged out Nick Norcross last week to move on to this final match.
Yes.
Should be a fantastic exhibition of Candlepin bowling.
We've had 3 really great matches so far in this ladder, and this one should be no different.
Okay, so we will be back with the start of our final matchup after this timeout. Welcome back, everyone, to the final matchup of the first ladder of Season 2.0, Classic Candlepins. We are in downtown Amesbury. My name is Frank Face, and I'm here with Mark Ricci.
What's that?
Our current Tournament of Champions victor. And this matchup is between Brian Fuller Jr. and Fuller-Simoneau, and Brian will get us underway.
Right on the head pin. Ripped out the guts. But also took out the 7-10 too, so this is a tough 2-2. Not your average 2-2 that you see, but cherried 1 pin straight back. Still staring at 3 pins. And still staring at 3 pins. 7 box to start. Lucky 7, as they say.
All good strings start with the 7 box.
That's what they say. I've heard it so many times.
I've heard it.
Brian right back on the head stick. Brian is 32 years old. Lives in Newburyport. Bowls here at the lanes in downtown. Also at the lanes down in Bradford. Busts up the diamond for the spare. Or the bucket, if you will. A lot of different names for a lot of different shots.
I've even heard the lunchbox. That was
the lunchbox.
That's
a new one.
That our very own Scott Moore came up with that.
Did he really?
Yeah. Or I don't know if he came up with it, but he mentioned it in our show one time. And I rather like it.
It is a new one. Now here is our first look.
Jay Simoneau.
Yes.
A great first ball. Looking at the 4-8 two-pitter. Got some wood out front. He's going to want to stay away from that mark.
Yeah, I really think so. He's going to try to just shoot right at the sticks. And that was why he just caught the cap.
And
nothing carrying back for the 8-pin.
If that wood wasn't there, he would have had a good shot at it. And he bounces back with a 10.
Jason's 36 years old. Lives in Merrimack, New Hampshire. He's single. He listed here that he's an accountant. So if you need accounting services. Oh!
Or if you just need strikes thrown.
Or if you just want to count to 10, he can do that too.
A big ball from Jay Simoneau.
Yes.
Matches Brian Spare's mark in the second. And the bonus ball.
Fuller hits the head pin. Kind of light though. Head pin kind of flew around. He gets 5. Leaves the check mark on the right, the 7-pin, but a favorable piece of wood if he can hit the shot just right. He missed it, but however, some late action, and
I don't think that was his intention, but it almost worked.
it did almost work. He almost stole it, as we say, and missed a 3-pin by a piece of paper. We've talked before about it. Brian has the house record here in his own impressive high single of 224. My goodness, that is. There's nights I don't have 224 for 2.
Yeah, I can only imagine what watching that was like.
My word.
He's looking at the 4 horsemen right plus the 8-pin.
My own personal high single is 207, and I don't know where I could have squeezed in 17 more pins in the least bit.
It's hard to imagine.
It really is.
And that's Fuller's second 7 box.
Yes.
Uncharacteristic of him.
Very much so.
As Jay Simoneau steps up on lane 7 to fill his strike.
Jay has his own impressive numbers. His league average right now is 122. As he throws, hits the head pin nice and heavy, but just kind of chunked a lot of it through, got 5. His high single is 180, and his high series is 451. And we said it before, any number over 450. You're averaging 150, folks, to get there. And he just scooted by that 2-pin for a 5 fill on the strike. 25, he's up a couple, but it's very, very early. That's 3 of them for an 8. And 33 after 3. Jay does a lot of his bowling up in Manchester. Great, outstanding establishment run by Hall of Fame proprietor and bowler Tim Lipke.
Yes, indeed.
Big shout out to him and his lanes up there. Always enjoy going up there. And
yes.
Jay takes out the 2-pinner. Nice piece of wood that helped as a nice guide, and Jay's off and running. That's the hardest thing in the world. I remember my first time on TV. It was so hard to get the first mark on the board.
Oh, I bet.
It was really, really difficult.
I've yet to experience that, but hopefully someday.
My legs were shaking worse than they ever could. My first time on TV.
I'd probably do something like fall or something.
I threw a ball off my foot in the tournament of
That is
champions.
true, but you won.
I did, but I still threw a ball off my foot. I felt like an idiot for a minute.
You left the group up here a little speechless for
Yes.
for a second. We didn't know what to say about it.
I didn't know either, so I just kind of, I think I laughed. I just kind of laughed it off, hoping that nobody really saw what happened.
Well, it's the best attitude to approach it with.
But then I was really wrong when I realized nobody saw it. I went, oh, great, everybody saw that. That's phenomenal.
So an 8-box for Brian Fuller. Gives him a 46.5. He's slightly off the headpin, looking at 1-3-7-10.
Yeah, he just motioned to himself, too, to slow down a little bit. I bowled a bit with Brian, and he's usually a more deliberate pace than this. But the lights and the atmosphere being on TV gets the adrenaline flowing.
Right, as you were just saying, it can be tough.
Whether you're a grizzled veteran or if it's your first time, it doesn't matter. It still gets you going a little bit.
So another 8-box through 6 brings him to 54. Jason Simoneau steps up to lane 7, and he's filling a spare. Bonus.
Great ball. He's got that backup ball that works too. He puts it out there a lot.
He sure does.
Harder than Brian does, but
Yeah, that's the thing. Not only does he have the backup ball, he's got the speed.
right. And it tends to bust up a lot of pins. You leave yourself a lot of makeable shots just like that. He puts the single in the pit. 9 and another. And he's off and running. Early 14-pin lead plus a ball. Actually, we make that 16 box to box plus a ball.
And the bonus ball.
On the
Another
head pin
hit.
again.
Another 9 drop.
And right in the face.
He is all over it.
That is 3 marks in a row, folks. Quality fills, everything else. What nerves? What
Good
nerves?
question,
What
yeah.
jitters? What are you talking about? This is old hat for this guy, I guess. Brian Fuller. On the head pin. So far, his head pin hits have been fairly light.
He's not getting that mixing action
No.
he usually does.
Head pin's hitting the sidewall and bouncing over, but he makes the cluster in the corner. That's a hard shot.
It is, and that just goes to show you how important that second ball is.
It is the most important ball. The first ball is important to give yourself a lead, but the second ball is where the best bowlers live. You know, they live on that second ball. It's a spare game. You get the strikes. It's a gift from the gods. That's how I've always looked at it. They don't come. The best bowlers have the best spare balls out there. Brian again on his object. Just can't seem to break up. Takes out 9. 79. He's 1 under the line, but this string's almost over, but there's still a whole lot of match left to go.
Indeed there is.
But Jay is doing the right thing for himself. He's getting himself out to a hot start, and he's not looking back.
And the bonus ball.
Right down
Another
the middle.
head
Great
pin hit.
ball. He gets a really fast 7 pins to fly out of there. Actually, he caught a break. That 4 pin's wiggling. It got hit pretty hard, but it didn't fall.
Yeah, you actually want that one to stay
Honestly,
up in this case.
I'd deal with the 7 fill instead of getting the 8. Absolutely. And then he makes the spare. 7 and another. 88. 98 in the ball now. He'll be up over 30 pins after this ball. Another great head pin hit.
He can't miss.
No. This is how he was bowling the night he was here in the roll-off.
And an unfortunate lie on the piece of wood. He's got no choice but to really kind of be super high on it. And he missed that one.
It's tough when you have half an inch of a pin to hit. There it is.
And you know he's thinking about that one.
Oh, we talked about that several times this ladder. You know, you missed the spare, and and you come back and you hit it like it's the easiest thing you ever did on the third ball.
It's the name of the game.
It is.
Unfortunate. Brian Fuller on lane 7.
As Fuller with his own headpin hit actually broke it up this time for him. Triangle on the left side, 2-4-5. Slid to the left.
And he'll pick that up for a 10 box. So he's going to need a mark for 100.
And breaks up the split that time. Very full on it, but he got some good mixing action on the right side. Took out the 2 pins that were there. So instead of a big 2 and 2, now it's just the 2 on the left, the 4 and the 7. And yes. You know, he is going to lose the string. However, shots like these in the 10th, and if you can put a good fill on it, it's a big momentum boost for next game. Let's see how he does. Pitched off to the left. He only got 4.
So a 103 for Brian Fuller to start off the first string of our final match. And Jason Simoneau will look to add to his lead.
He can really, really put some ultimate pressure here. 2 big marks. He's going to have to earn this one, though. This is that proverbial big 4 that we were speaking of. Some interesting wood, though, on the left-hand side. It would still be all about getting something to snap, but get your helicopter going on the other side. Well, you hit it right, and just didn't carry it over.
Just about the best you could do with that one.
Quite honestly, yeah, with it being double wood as it was. Nice 10 right there.
Checks it for a 10.
He does not look like this is his first time on
no.
like, this is not. I think he lied, to be honest with you. I'm going to make him fill out a real bio sheet here. I got to get a lie detector test on it or something.
Unhappy with that one. He punches a half Worcester left.
On the head pin.
The corners are plugged. And he makes it for a 10.
What a great 10. Incredible.
So, folks, this has been an excellent exhibition from Jason Simoneau, who just threw a 137 over Brian Fuller's 103 for the first string. We'll be back with second string action after this timeout.
I'm Jay Simoneau, and you're watching Classic Candlepins.
Okay, we are back here at downtown Amesbury on Classic Candlepins, the final match of our first ladder of the second season, season 2.0. And I'm here with Mark Ricci. My name is Frank Face, and Jason Simoneau gets us started on lane 7. Jason Simoneau, who's throwing a great ball.
He has been electric so far. I think he's only missed the head pin once or twice.
Started off with the 137 string, opposite Brian's 103. An early lead of 34 pins.
And look at this. Oh, he very nearly threw that 3-pin over to the side.
Almost.
He's staring at the 710. Big piece of wood on the 7. He'll probably go for that one for the 9 box, which he did. So he got the 9. That's all you can do when you got one of those big, just pin it out. Get 1, get 2 if you can in a weird shot, but
right.
You get the 710, just pick 1 and fire. Especially if it's a piece of wood, that kind of decision maker right there.
Yeah, I mean, 710 is the widest split in bowling that you can have. So,
Jay on the headpin again. And
there
it goes
for a strike.
There it goes. Jay's getting the pins to move.
Much like he started the first string with a strike, he waited to the second box this time. As we get a look at Brian Fuller as he starts off on lane 7. And he has a strike of his own. No doubt about that one, Mark.
None at all. Fuller is going nowhere. Another one.
Oh, wow. Okay.
All right, at least it fell.
Looking at 3, 7, 10. Filling a strike. And just missed it. Fills his strike with a 9. And he picks it up for the 10. So puts him at 29 through 2.
More importantly, though, with that strike, that was 2 marks in a row for Fuller, and I know it was in a separate game.
Right.
That mentally, that can start to carry you.
Absolutely.
You know, you spent all game, you threw well, didn't get anything to break, and then you got 2 in a row.
It's an icebreaker.
It really kind of is, mentally.
And Simoneau breaks up the split on lane 7, looking at 3-6, filling a strike.
Jay has been outstanding today so far.
And he continues.
Yes, split it right up. Can't miss a 2-pinner if you hit them both with the ball.
Bonus. And
Again.
a big strike.
My word.
Another 3 marks in a row for Jay Simoneau. Mark, if they keep throwing all these marks, I don't know if we'll be able to fill an hour slot.
I don't know. I'm having a hard time keeping up on the score sheet here. You're doing the big board. I'm doing the little board here, but I'm having a hard time keeping up with these guys.
Yeah.
They're not throwing too many balls per box now. And Fuller answers right back.
There's another one.
Matches the spare put up by Jay in the 3rd box.
Bonus.
Oh, and look at this. He got a great breakup. A great breakup.
Another 2-pinner. Got some wood this time in between the 3-6.
Even I could hit this one.
And yes.
Yes. So here we go, folks. You wanted it. Here it comes.
So look at our scoreboard there. You see all the color.
Jay on the head pin. Couldn't break it up this time. The 7 pin stayed strong over on the left, and the 6-10 is on the right. However, next to the 7 pin,
You know, I was thinking the same thing, Mark.
Nicely angled piece of wood.
See what he does.
He's shooting it. A little heavy on the cap.
Almost. He.
It was the right idea.
Right.
If you're going to try to play there and make the shot, because the wood over on the 6-10 would have probably just taken the 6-10.
He caught it just a little too soon.
Yep. Yep, just like that.
8 filled 10 box. So a 77.5 for Jason Simoneau as he steps over to lane 6.
That's twice in a row. He was in 70 for his first halves.
And
even when he missed the head pin, he gets the head pin. Wood came back up and just tripped the head pin over. 3, 6, and 10 on the right side. And no.
he knew it as soon as he released it.
Yes, he
just a
did.
little too heavy on the 6 pin. So he'll be open for the first 2 consecutive boxes in a while.
That's an 8.
Takes him to 85 through 6. Brian Fuller is filling a mark.
I forgot to note, in the first string, actually, Jason did not leave a pin standing the entire game.
He was the 8 box.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
Yes, in the 3rd box he had an
But
8.
only 2 pins.
2 pins. My
Bonus
word.
ball for Brian Fuller.
Oh, Brian getting
Not
some
any
late
counting,
action.
and a 10.
And they go. And they all go boom.
So that is 3 in a row for Brian Fuller.
There's no shot clock in this game, folks. They can take as long as they have to. Brian full again.
7-10.
Yes. Whole bunch of mess over on the left side with Wood. I think he's got 3 different pieces over there.
Just want to give it a ride.
Just get it moving. And no, just stuffed it all straight back.
Gains back 9 pins and count, though. And that'll be a 9 box. Slipped into the channel there real fast. But still actually gained a pin back. He gained back 10 pins in those last couple boxes.
86 half, 95 through 6. These guys showed up to bowl, Mark.
Yes, they did. Oh, yes, they did.
One, 3, 6.
Halfway through the match, Jay's up 24 pins. Fuller's already shaved 10 off of it. And
yes!
That 2-pin after, I'm sorry, the 3-pin after he hit it, bounced off the wall and just nicked the front of the 6.
Just enough.
Just enough to tip it. They don't have to fall fast, folks. Just fall.
Bonus.
On the head pin again. And you know, the thing part is he has been on the head pin, but he has not been full on the head pin. He's been in the pocket.
Flush pocket hits.
Yes.
And they're just working like butter for him, really.
Yes. Like butter. And yes, on the 2-pinner.
You know what else, Mark?
Yes.
He's making his spares.
He is.
He's not just missing them. He's not sliding by. He's making his spares. It's just.
This is how you dream you should bowl when you get onto a TV show or any other kind of tournament. And Brian, right back on the head pin too. Brian's definitely found his range also. But he's got to keep marking. And on the triangle, no.
That 6-pin went right around the 10-pin
Yes,
mark.
it did. You know, it's hard to see if you're standing in the back or if you're watching on television. That'll be a 9. That slipped into the channel also. There's a full 12 inches between pins. So there is a lot of room for things to go right or things to go wrong. And
that was an unfortunate leave.
That ball went wrong. I don't know how, but he
it looked great
crushed
to
that
me.
pocket. 5, 7.
Look at this!
9, 10, and he almost sent that 5-pin back over. Yeah, even though he didn't make the shot, it's safe to say he's on right now.
Oh, yeah, I think so. I think they both dialed it in.
Very much. That's another 9.
113 through 8. Opposite Jay Simoneau's 113 through 8, but Simoneau is filling a spare.
Yes. So we are back to a 34-pin match, but Jason's going to add to that right here.
And bonus, head pin.
Oh, goodness.
Very
9
nearly
and a
another
wiggle.
strike. He's got to like that wood, Mark.
Yes, you have to. That's one heck of a margin of error. And there it is. Would have taken it even without it. And again, he has 3 in a row. Second time this string, he has 3 marks in a row. And his lowest fill is 8. You want to throw 140s and 150s, folks? That's how you do it.
That is exactly how you do it.
That is how you do it.
Bonus ball.
Again. Oh, just off the head stick. Just missed. Got the 6 fill. Staring at the 4 horsemen left. 1, 2, 4, and 7.
Too good.
Yeah.
Too heavy on number 1. So he'll be open in the 10th box, but well over 140.
145 at this moment. Make that 148. 2-game total of 285. Now Brian Fuller has a chance here to get himself back into this match. And he is not bowling bad at all, folks. He's been bowling well the entire day. The first string, it just didn't break up for him. This game, they've broken up much more, but
I think he held on to that one a little bit too long.
That was just a miss.
So a 9 box. Finds the pocket again, but no love.
Again, just a little thin. The last few times he's hit it, he's just hit it a little thin, and he hasn't gotten much of that crunch action of the pings. Head pin just tends to fly up and over that little cluster in the corner. And he made it once, but it's tough to make that shot multiple times. Score that a 9. So 131 for Brian.
Through 2, we have Jason Simoneau at 285, opposed to Brian Fuller's 234, a 51-pin lead for Simoneau. We'll be back with the conclusion and third string of the final matchup of the first ladder of our Season 2.0 on Classic Candlepins right after this timeout.
I'm Brian Fuller, and you're watching Classic Candlepins.
Welcome back, everyone. We are here for our third and final string of the final match of the Classic Candlepins Season 2.0 opener. This is our first ladder of the season, and we are here with Mark Ricci.
Yes, sir. Glad to be here.
Yes, and we're watching Brian Fuller Jr. face off against Jason Simoneau, rather. Jason currently has a 51-pin lead over Brian. Brian's looking at the 5-6-10.
Jason has been bowling so well all day today.
You know, Jay's a teammate of mine for both the Friday Pro League and on the Worlds, and this comes as no surprise to me. He's really just, when he dials it in, it's unstoppable, you know.
It's good to see him take this corner. I remember watching him bowl through the years, and he was one of the younger guys that was coming, trying to really, break out, trying to do something to break out. And it seems like this year, wow.
Speaking of breaking out,
yes,
a hammer by Brian Fuller Jr.
This year, Jason has really had that year. And it's good to see him up here. It's good to see him competing. And the man's winning by 50 pins. You can't doubt the numbers.
Right.
They don't lie.
And we're glad you're joining us for this fine exhibition.
Hello.
And that's the kind of ball he's been throwing all day, but he's been getting better results than that.
Yes,
he's
he
left
has.
with the 7, 8, 9. Not really sure what he's supposed to do with that.
Drop back and punt is what I do. pick, 9 box, and run away if you can.
Right.
Splits the uprights. Which, did you know this? I found out that bowling alley being 60 feet long is 20 yards. It's the same distance as kicking an extra point.
Yeah, I suppose.
That is completely useless fact of the day, but, in case you're measuring at home, which I don't know why, but.
Some people may.
So it's quite, our show does reach quite a few different people, so.
I'd argue that bowling is much more difficult than kicking an extra point.
I would agree with that 1,000,000%. 1,000,000%. And speaking of people watching, if you're watching us on YouTube, thank you so very much for turning us on. This is why we do this. We want people to see this. We want people to experience Candlepin in every form. And while you're there, please give us a like. Give us a subscribe. Help us out a little bit so we can keep bringing you the shows and we know who likes it.
Also, be sure to find us on Facebook. You can search for Classic Candlepins. As we look at Brian Fuller, he is filling his strike. And could we have a double? Almost. The 5-7.
I'm noticing him. He's starting to find a little bit more angle. He's moved over a little to the right. And he's throwing the ball a little straighter at the head pin instead of letting it up and letting it curve back. He's throwing it much more straight.
So that'll be a 9 box.
He did get 13 back and count. So we're looking at 38 pins. A lot of us have been bowling long enough to know that there is no lead that is safe. 50 pins sounds like a gimme. Seen it be lost.
Absolutely.
Things like that. Shots like that. That was a beautiful spare. Jay's still in a very comfortable position here, but cannot let off. He's got to keep bowling. Wow.
Back on the head pin, a little light. Left with the triangle.
A lot of late action there. And
Right.
we got left with the left side triangle. 2, 4, 5. And yes.
There it is.
This is an important ball for him for the rest of the string. Try to keep himself moving. Little out to the left, only picked up 3. And he was nice and light on the head pin. I find that's the best way to shoot those.
Absolutely.
Try to be light, see if you can get something to come flying back off the wall, and I thought he threw a good enough ball. Pins out for the 9 box, 37.
So a good out nonetheless, but Brian Fuller has an opportunity to gain some pins and count here against the deficit.
He's already got 10 in the bank, plus this ball. And
plus
there's
10 more.
There's 10 more. And another good-looking ball.
Looked like a good ball to me, but the 5, 6, 10 stand.
There's a few people here cheering today.
I think so, yeah.
There's a couple people making some loud noise.
Well, our bowlers are putting on quite a show for
Yes,
our
they
gallery.
are. Yes, they are. We thank everybody that's come and watched us, come and helped us, been a part of this.
7 Phil on the strike. He's seems to be taunting himself, but 7 box puts him at 81 through 6, but yet cuts into his lead, or deficit rather, cuts into Jay's lead.
Most of this is all going to depend on how Jay finishes his game here. He's got 6 big boxes. Crushed the head pin there.
Another triangle on the left.
And we'll have to see if his lack of experience on TV is either detrimental or if this is one of those times where you learn about finishing a match being up.
Just misses there. Nine box. So through boxes completed, the lead is cut down to 23 pins. And with those numbers, there's a lot of bowling to
Don't go anywhere,
go.
folks. Missed left there. Usually that's only half Worcester, but he got a couple extra to fall. Staring at a big cluster. He's got the 1 and the 3, the 4 pin, the 9 and the 10. A lot of wood in the middle. Head pin's still key here.
Just missed it. Oh,
Just.
almost.
Oh, it still almost came up behind it too.
Right.
So he will gain a couple pins back because of being opposite Fuller's 7 here. Let's see. Just kisses the
26 pin lead at this point.
So Fuller's chewed off half the lead in 6 boxes. He's got 4 more to chew off the rest of it.
Sit tight, folks.
Yes. Just off there, but no, nothing extra.
1, 3, 6, 7, 9.
Good ball.
It looked good going down, Mark.
Very good.
Can't play it much better than that.
That's a 7 pin in the face for a 10 box. 91. Not in the Frank face, though. No, that would hurt.
I hope not, yeah.
I don't want that to happen at all, no.
He's
Brian
through the
with
middle.
a great ball. And
Wow. The 10 pin has moved off spot a little bit.
yes, it did. I think even if it fell, though, it wouldn't make
Not much.
a whole
because,
lot of difference. Brian wanted that one.
He did.
Really
He
thought
did.
he was there with it.
Some body English there.
8.
99 through 8.
Jason really has a chance to force Brian into a double or triple strike situation here. If he puts up a mark, it's definitely a double. If he puts up 2 marks, then this gets a whole lot harder for Brian. That was a great ball, too.
Big head pin
Solid
hit.
5-7.
Right.
Funky little cap piece of wood on the right, but I don't think that's going to...
No, I want to play the cut.
Agreed. Agreed.
He's heavy on it, but...
On the object.
He's on his object, right.
And there's a good 10 box. 66.
Maintains his lead at 26 pins. Thin head pin hit.
Just caught the head pin. In fact, I think that is the head pin, as that piece of wood over on the right side.
Right, I believe you're correct.
I think it is. Big cluster of 5 on the left. And no. So the door is open. I mean, by no means is anything over. That's a big 9 box for Jay.
So going into the final 2 boxes, Jay Simoneau has a 27-pin lead. Brian Fuller is going to need probably 2 marks, at least 2 marks.
At the very least.
Definitely 2 marks.
At the very least.
Just off the head pin. He's got the 4 horsemen right.
Doesn't matter what happens next box. He has to start with this one first. And yes.
And he's got it.
He carried the corner pin. Carried the 10. Put up a mark when he needed it. But we need some heroics here. I've seen him do it before. Can he do it again?
Bonus.
Great ball. Carries the 5 pin. And can he push it? Oh, can he push it? That close, folks.
So an 8 fill, plus a good spare leave.
He
There
carried
it
the
is.
spare leave. For any hope, he has to have 8, 9, or 10 here. This is not going to be the easiest thing. And he crushes the head pin, gets 10 to fall. Yes. He did.
So a 371 for Brian Fuller. Simoneau is currently at 360. He has 2 boxes to go. Needs 11 to tie, 12 to win. And you see the look of determination there. Looking at the 4 horsemen right with the piece of wood between the 6 and 10.
He just needs to concentrate on the pins here to win the match. He missed the shot, but he took 3 out of the 4 of them, so there's 9 of his 12 that he needs. And head stick still staying there, but that's 9 for 84 after 9. He does need a mark for 100.
And that'll do it for him.
There's the match.
4 horsemen left this time. So, Mark, a great run on the back end by Brian Fuller Jr.
It really was.
But Jay Simoneau's big 2 starting strings were enough.
It was amazing, the first 2 strings. But it's funny, that's how fast things can turn in this game. You could be throwing and not missing. And then all of a sudden, it all goes away sometimes. And there's nothing you can really do except just try to fight and grind and grind and grind. And there's a 10.
And there it is. I mean, he pinned the whole.
He did.
the
His
whole
worst
way.
2 boxes were only the 8 and the 7, but after that, he only left 4 pins standing in the last 8 boxes. So there you have it.
There you have it, folks. 379 for Jay Simoneau. Brian Fuller Jr. 371. He's edged out by 8 pins. And we have our ladder champion in Jay Simoneau from Merrimack, New Hampshire. We'll be back to talk with our bowlers after this timeout. And welcome back, everyone, to downtown Amesbury. My name is Frank Face. I'm here with Mark Ricci and our runner-up of the first ladder of season 2.0, Brian Fuller Jr. Brian, we've seen you in a situation like this before where you're throwing a great ball and the splits are just there. Things started to break up for you in the last game, but it just wasn't enough. How do you feel?
Yeah, I mean, the first string I couldn't get anything to break up, and being down about 40-something pins going into the last string, it's tough to make up.
Yeah, Jay bowled well the first 2, and it kind of carried him to victory.
It seemed like you didn't do anything different, though, in the first or the second game. It seemed like you were throwing the same ball, and they just happened to break up in the second and the third game. That first game just kind of held you down a little bit. But I still thought you bowled very, very well, and I know we'll see you back here another time, right?
Thank you. I hope so.
I hope so, too, quite honestly.
We will. Yeah. Congratulations, Brian.
Brian Fuller Jr., everybody.
And now we'll talk to our ladder champion, Jay Simoneau. Jay, congratulations.
Thank you.
You threw a great ball just about all day. The first 2 strings especially came out of the gates, 140 games and 150 games almost. What were you thinking? This is your first time on TV.
Yeah, honestly, I was Jimbo. Was basically telling me, just relax, just throw the ball. And he was trying to he gave me some words of advice that actually I thought through the whole thing. I found through my last string I was kind of rushing my ball, going too fast, and then I realized that's the reason why I was off.
Well, he's a great guy to take advice from. He's got a lot of experience with this type of thing. So.
Very much so, yes. And he's a talented bowler, too. It's sometimes the advice in the beginning is more valuable than the actual experience that you get in the minute, because if you go out, I mean, we were talking about it, sometimes it's hard with, the knees get a little jerky and, you start throwing the ball harder, the adrenaline's just flowing, but it seemed like you handled yourself very, very well. That last string, I bet you want to forget that one.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
It was a little, especially the first box and leaving 7, 8, 9 no wood. I was like, ooh, that's a little rough. But
yeah,
after that,
I can't even
the
fix that
adrenaline
one.
Going. And it did go a little too fast.
And, Brian started to almost catch up with you a little bit.
Yeah, I was getting a little nervous there towards the end.
I was going to say you must have been feeling that because, although you had a 51-pin lead, nothing is safe in this game. No,
nothing.
As Mark and I
Not
were
a
saying.
single lead is safe, and that was almost evident. He almost came back and got you.
And that's what Jimbo even told me. He goes, don't ever lay it up and don't think, don't count yourself out. Both of those things. So
we've all lost by 50. We've come back and won by things like that. So, but congratulations.
Thank you.
Way to come in and win the top seed and then win the match.
Thank you.
So here you have it, our ladder series champion, and Jason Simoneau out of Merrimack, New Hampshire. Thank you for joining us here in downtown Amesbury. For Mark Ricci, our entire crew, thanks for watching. See you next time.
Ladder Championship Saturday has come and gone, and we crown a new winner, Jay Simoneau, who comes out swinging in this match, Frank.
Guns blazing.
Absolutely. 285 after 2, and has Fuller Jr. on the ropes, a 51-pin lead, I believe.
It's like he couldn't miss anything.
Right. And you talk to him after the match, and you see that 285, and it's like, I got a shot at 400. Psychologically, play a factor in the match.
Exactly. Oh, I think so. You're thinking, not only do I have a shot at 400, I have a shot at 400 on television.
Right.
So, you don't know what that's going to do for your confidence, really. It took Jay far enough because he ended up with the 94 string in the third. Not terribly impressive, but it was just enough to come in, to defeat Fuller.
Right.
8-pin victory.
Right. As we saw last year, Mark Ricci's 380 was top seed for the Tournament of Champions. That 379, good score. It's going to take a good match in order to beat him, to go above him in those rankings. And we have to give credit to Fuller because he could have just lay down and just packed up his stuff and go home.
Right.
Doesn't do that. Throws 137 in the third, but it's not enough.
Not enough, but you got to respect the way he came back. He really kind of put on a show for people.
Right. Absolutely. So, Ladder 1 is in the books. One thing you might want to be aware of, go on the Classic Candlepins Facebook page for roll-off dates for the second ladder of the season, because we look forward to talking about you and seeing you under the lights and at the lanes in Amesbury, Massachusetts. For our entire crew, the legendary Frank Face, of course, I'm Kyle Bruce, and we'll see you next time on Classic Candlepins.